who's the building inspector, and we'll just let him take it away. Will the neighbor start? And just say who you are and what your address is.
Thank you, Pam. My name is Ryan. I am the neighbor. My address 634 CJC Highway. I think technically the lot is 640 CJC Highway Lot 2, or 636, but I think 640 Lot 2 is still how the town recognizes it. But Pam, that was a great little recap. Thank you. So Board of Health, what I did was I connected with Pam and John about this particular property. But I'm looking to submit a formal complaint regarding ongoing and worsening conditions at this vacant construction site, which is adjacent to our property. Over the past 4 to 5 years, this started before 2020, this lot has remained incomplete, hazardous, and improperly maintained that is directly impacting the public health, safety, and environmental conditions of my family and my household, as well as the surrounding neighborhood. There is an uncontrolled insect and rodent infestation that has been allowed to fester due to the fact that she had over 5-foot tall weeds in clear violation of the Massachusetts Sanitary Code 105. Based on talking with Pam and John, one of you or someone alerted her to this call, and she started cleaning some of that up. So I definitely appreciate everyone's efforts. But this uncontrolled insect and rodent infestation has cost me and my family thousands of dollars and has allowed rodents to physically come into our house. There is a Cohasset police report that was filed. There was a groundhog that came from her property onto mine and attacked my dog.
That's in yard.
In our fenced-in yard. It came under our fenced-in yard, came in through the weeds and attacked my dog. Cohasset police were notified. A report was filed. There has been mosquitoes, ticks. This is one of the worst tick seasons yet. And there is a breeding ground for ticks in the wood pile directly abutting my property line. Carpenter ants has been another one. We have had countless tick and just pest control companies come over and cite her property as the leading cause for our infestation. There's also been a respiratory and health issue due to the incomplete property that she has. It is all dirt and has been dirt for multiple years. Our HVAC system is clogged with the dirt from her property. And every time we go outside, we have to physically hose off our deck and chairs to be able to sit out there while inhaling all of this construction dust. We have been inhaling this dust for just an incredible amount of time, multiple years. The stump and wood pile that was just recently, the stump was recently moved. We have photo evidence. I believe, Pam, I submitted photos to you. The stump has been there since January of 2020, allowing for rodent warrens to just burrow in deep and just go wherever they want. There's also newly developing, and her former septic system cover has been deliberately placed on our property line and is uncovered. And, that's a very unsanitary thing to have on our property line. So what I'm looking and imploring the board to do is investigate this matter and help protect my family.
Yeah, John.
Okay, thank you. John, could I ask you to make comments?
Yes, it has been an ongoing project for the last 5 years. There is an active building permit which was extended. Same thing with the septic permit that was extended 2 years ago, and there's another year left in that. There is a site engineer in contact with the septic system, so he's aware of the old sewer or septic tank that was part of it being decommissioned, so that will have to be removed at some time. Again, conservation is involved on the site. We're just trying to move this project along. Most recently, a few weeks ago, we again asked them to fill in a trench that had been open for several weeks for
Months,
the electrical
several months.
line. For the electrical line, which they eventually did fill in. Again, their permit is active, so it is an active construction site, so our resources are limited. It's not an abandoned building, so we can't attack it that way. So we're trying to move the applicant along through several site visits to get the work done. Our hands are kind of tied, again, because there's no, it's a construction site still, so we're doing our best effort to make visits, speak with her, to keep the project moving. We don't want to put a stop work order on, because that would just freeze everything and then it wouldn't get us anywhere. So we're continuing to monitor it. We have seen some improvement, however slightly, there, and there's more to come as they get closer to getting ready to move in. They have to have certain things done through the building code, i.e., safety of the building, septic tank, as-built submitted, conservation, as-built submitted, stormwater information. So we're getting to the point in the project now where those things have to be done and completed and signed off by engineers in the different fields. So we're hoping that we're approaching the latter half rather than the beginning of it, but unfortunately we are monitoring it and doing the best we can with it. Our hands are kind of tied, and we've, as I say, been trying to push it along.
So it's currently an active construction site then?
Yes, she
Okay, I was
currently,
unaware of that.
yeah, she currently owns 640. This is 636, which is a new construction site, and Ryan and his wife, they live at I believe it's 632. It used to be one lot at one point, but I want to say going back 7 or 8 years ago, was divided into 3 separate lots with the 3 new addresses now. So we did have a licensed construction supervisor on the permit to do the building portion of it, and it seems that permits have been pulled through the Board of Health by a installer of the septic system, and the engineer's name who is also on the system too, so he'll be doing the as-built and to comply. So we want to encourage the work to be done. We're trying to do that in a manner that's going to get us the best results. Again, we're just leery of trying to stop the work and demanding it, because I don't think that's going to move the project forward. But we have been in contact and will continue to be in contact with the owner and the supervisor on site to kind of move things along. I literally has probably been there 24 times over the last couple of years on different complaints, different processes, and different inspections. So it's certainly visible. It's on our radar, and we're pursuing everything we can to get it taken care of.
So do you think the owner is making a good faith effort to continue the construction and complete?
Yes, ever so slowly, and sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 1 step back. With the workmanship, we have spoken with the different contractors, both electrical supervisor, plumbing, and the septic installer. So we'll continue to do that, just again to get the project there. Sometimes the owner, I don't think understands the scope of the work, so there's a little bit of communication problem with the contractors involved too. So we're trying to help her with that. Again, our goal is to get this done and complete.
Does the board have any questions or concerns?
Yeah, I have a question. I mean, maybe Pam, you can clarify this for us. If we were to issue a statement of a nuisance condition, what would the impact be to the project and to the neighbors, and what does that accomplish?
But it's hard to know because she's a bit of a wild card, and it's hard to know if it would spur her on or make her dig her heels in and be slower. I mean, I think I can tell what John's just saying, like, let's just push her and just get this done. I mean, it's hard for me to know what the impact would be to like the tooth and how she was gonna react with this thing.
Guess I just have a question. So, construction site or not, the weeds are like a massive problem that are causing all of these rodent and other pest infestations. We just, as of yesterday, had someone coming out to treat our lawn, and we use natural, organic treatments because we're concerned about our dog, conservation area, whatnot.
But they
And he
cited her.
cited her weeds. Our lawn is out of control, and yes, I am fully aware lawn is a first world problem, and that's not necessarily like the bolus of our concern. The concern is the rodents, the groundhog, which resulted in not only the police report but a 45-day rabies quarantine, and our dog becoming fearful of her own yard, which is obviously not the Board of Health's concern, but it just was frustrating. And it's something we've brought up several times. We've asked her to move the weeds, we've asked her to move the stump, and it just feels like she keeps getting pre-notified of these things happening with little or no consequence. And I understand that like we don't want to dig our heels in and like cause her to like delay the project, but no one on this call, I'm confident, would want to live next to this for 4 years. Ryan and I are trying to start our family.
I can't
But-
have my wife be pregnant
We're just,
with the
yeah.
tick infestation that we have, the mosquito, the rodent infestation. That should sit firmly with the Board of Health.
Well, I think tick and mosquito infestation regards to standing water, and ticks are throughout, not just
Totally.
in areas that are not mowed, but it's in my backyard. I have
Yeah.
a groundhog that lives underneath my shed that is there, and we've trapped them and moved them. So, you know, there are options. I'm not certain that I mean, unless there's standing water with things like tires that are not covered, the
Well, there
standing
is.
water is,
There is.
are there tires that
There
are,
are tires with uncovered tires in the back in the 25-foot buffer zone of conservation.
okay, and then that would be a violation of Board of Health. You know, I think having a groundhog, I'm not certain that would fit the criteria, but
Totally.
I understand
However, we can't maintain the land,
yeah,
right?
we couldn't see the
So
ground.
that's where I'm imploring you guys to try and help, because I can't maintain that land. It's not my land. And if I was correct in understanding that the Massachusetts Sanitary Code 105 requires property owners to maintain properties and be free and clear of conditions that may harbor pests.
that's true.
And I would say for the past multiple years, the town has allowed her to be in violation of that. And I have submitted photos to Pam of multiple years dating back to 2020. And I understand I'm not looking to make a big scene of it, but I'm just imploring the town to try and help us. I can't protect my family. And that's what Officer Kimball said to me. So I need to be able to protect my family. I cannot protect my family the way her property is maintained today, or lack of maintaining.
So can I just ask a question about enforcement? If in fact I mean, what power does the board have to get her to cut down these tall grasses
Appreciate that question, Marcy.
or get rid of the tires?
Well-
Is it a John or a Pam question? I'm sorry.
Well,
No.
whoever can answer it best.
I was gonna say, I mean, you can issue an order and you can come up with some amount that you would say that you could, if she doesn't get it cleaned up within 30 days, you could begin to fine her and say what the fine would be.
Yeah, and I would venture to say that the fine mechanism would not work. We had the same disturbance with the building permit, that it had expired and we had to get it reissued to get the work going again. And she had to pay for a new fee there, and that was that was another 6 months just to get the paperwork in to pay for a fee so she could continue with the project. Unfortunately, she's in a situation where she has a house next door that she lives in currently, so she might, when speaking with her a couple times, she might just put her hands up and say, forget the whole thing. So that's why I'm just saying we have some issues of not, we're trying to deal with this rationally, but we have a situation that's not rational. So we're trying to do the best we can with that. So I think we just have to keep taking those little increments as we go. For example, again, keep pursuing the completion of the septic system, which has to be covered and seeded and that type of thing. The driveway has to be put in, just to get the project completed. I think if we poke too much as we don't like it, I think the heels are just gonna be dug in and she's gonna, she's been in my office several times. It could be a volatile situation, go from bad to very worse.
So has anyone sought legal counsel?
We're trying to avoid that because we
I
had
don't think that
property
solves too much.
damage done, and
Mm.
the amicable neighbor thing to do would have been to just let her contractor remove it, and it did not go very well. There was a large screaming fight and subsequent glares and stares and all these.
It's hard to have a rational conversation when she seems to be increasingly mentally unstable every time we go to have these conversations with her.
How about getting a
Starts to
mediator?
yell.
Sorry?
Would a mediator be of any use?
I'm unsure.
I think that would be a situation that would probably be more viable, because I think there's even when I was on the site the other day, I had to restrain her from speaking and yelling at the neighbors even when they weren't there. So it's a volatile situation. I think we're gonna have to just take it piece by piece to get to that situation and resolve it. We don't have another mechanism. I think the solution is, again, to slowly go at it. I think if you try to fine her, make her do stuff, or do the clearing for her, you're gonna be in a situation that's gonna get, worse for the town. We're trying to, again, work within the parameters we have with the septic system, with the building permit, and with the other trades involved there to make the house safe, which is the first thing we have to do if she wants to get in there. So there is a friend that I have been in contact, one of her friends, to try to move this along. We've made some progress in getting the trench filled, although that took a while, and we do have some electrical inspections coming up and other inspections, so we try to get in there now to get those things taken care of. Again, we could continue to reach out and be in contact with her, but I think to put forward demands or something, I don't think that's gonna get us any closer to the end.
I don't know, it seems to me that if she's in clear violation with the tires and the tall grasses, that some official action is warranted.
Yeah, yes, and it's a matter of what that action is. We could go down there with the conservation, because it's in conservation land, and then that's not a fast process either. So again, we can approach that bit by bit to try to have that taken care of. But there's, right now there's no electricity to the building, so there's no smoke detectors or anything like that. So we as much as the tires are important, we've got some other issues we've got to get taken care of too. And I think conservation, that's in their realm, because there's supposed to be some mitigation in the back area there where the old driveway was, that crosses the wetlands, and that has to be filled back into wetlands. So I think conservation is kind of working on that area, but we're just trying to kind of move along. But believe it or not, this has been going on this has been going on a decade. I'll leave it at that. So this is only the last 5 years that we've been there. This has been going on for a while. So it's a, the situation, it's better than it was, and we're just trying to improve it along as we can. We could check in a couple of months and see where we're at, and see if there's any improvement there. But I think when I say our hands are tied, I'm not making it up, but I just don't want to make the situation worse. And I think the hostility towards the neighbors, if we try to take action, that the neighbors will bear the brunt of that. And I think that's only going to make it worse. So I try not to. I think if we deal through our mechanisms rather than the neighbors said, or to put them in a situation there, that I think it's going to be worse for them as it is. It's hard enough living next to her, but I think if we take any action in that sense, she's going to see that as a direct assault from the neighbors and not us.
Well, that's why I think a third party like a mediator who is skilled in the art of conflict resolution and compromise might move the situation forward. I mean, if this has been going on for 10 years, the prognosis isn't great for an immediate or reasonably short-term solution.
Yeah, I mean, there's been more progress in the last 2 years than there were in the first 8.
That's still a very
But-
long time. I mean,
I know it's very difficult because she's not a builder and not a developer, and she's tasked with that responsibility. So we're trying to, again, get that there. I would say the best case scenario was to maybe revisit this in a couple months and at least get some updates on the status as to where we are and see if there are any progress before we kind of go after any mediator. I don't think the mediator she'd want to talk to.
Would it be helpful to have the Conservation Commission go by and recommend removal of the tires? And
Yes, she has
As
been
one
by
step.
in the past, and usually if we go out, she doesn't go out alone, she go out with someone. So we could certainly follow through with that.
and that may be one step to start.
Yeah, I think that would be reasonable.
And I think you can get Plymouth County Mosquito Control to remove tires for free of charge, so we could look into that.
I'm willing to let them take the tire off of via my property because it's easier for them to get to. But the tire really isn't the concern, team. It's everything else. The tire is like a 1% issue. Matter of fact, I forgot it was there until you just brought it up. It's been there since we built our house. Like it's like the tire is not a chief concern. The chief concern is the other health issues that this project is posing to my family.
But certainly the tires are going to be the source of mosquito breeding, and that's one of the more common, easy ways to remove mosquito breeding is get rid of the tires that are uncovered. You see that in tropical countries all the time. I mean, we can, one option, I don't know what the board thinks, we could send a letter recommending, good faith effort to clear as best as possible to help keep down the rodent and mosquito and tick population.
I would be in favor of that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I'd be in favor of that. I think that's reasonable.
If we push too hard, I think what'll happen is the speed of the construction will just slow down and you would see kind of a neighbor to neighbor fight, which I've been through that before with our neighbor in the back. It was not a pleasant situation.
I have been nothing but friendly and just supportive of her until she just all of a sudden one day 180. And this is why I'm imploring for your assistance.
Yeah,
Would the
I don't think
board,
it's-
oh,
sorry,
go
Paul. I don't think it's a neighbor's issue. I think we do have, somewhat of a volatile, or there is some some type of mechanism that gets her going. So I think a letter that you suggested would be helpful for both the Board of Health, the Conservation, and myself to maybe coordinate it with some other work to at least get, continue to get things moving again. So we can ask her what the next phase is, how can we help her with it, to get this moving, because again, we want it moving, and there are some steps that, we could, at least with the letter, that gets our foot in the door, and we can, help her with the resources to get that done.
And the letter could include like milestone targets to get specific things done, right? To keep her on track, maybe.
I think we worded it, firm but not accusatory. That may be the one option, just to say to prevent rodents and mosquito breeding and tick breeding would be, we would, from the Board of Health, would appreciate removal of the tires that may be prime source of mosquito breeding that can be removed, in addition to simple mowing of the lawns and preventing animals from living there, trapping if necessary. Something like that. I mean, I've been through this before, and it was with our one of our neighbors. It was rather difficult to get anything done without causing a bit of a stir.
And John, what you're saying to me is that it could escalate her to physically attack my family? Is that accurate?
I don't want to say that.
Prove my faith that she has weapons in the house.
I just said, I think verbally certainly would be, I don't want that to put you guys in a position, and I think if it's done through the town rather than you folks.
Right.
And again, the letter comes from the Board of Health and our department, not as an activation through you guys. This is,
Right.
And have it be as independent as possible so that there's no connection to you folks.
Thank you, John. And John, I know I talked to you earlier, but did you confirm how you were going to make her dispose of her former septic system that she's so nicely placed on our property line?
Yes, I've reached out to the engineer. I'll hear back from him. So he has to do his final inspection. So he will, in order to pass the final as-built inspection, that will have to be removed or crushed.
Thank you, John.
So any other comments from the board?
No, I don't have anything.
So would it be reasonable to draft a letter recommending to keep down rodent and mosquito infestation with ticks, to tidy up the yard and remove sources of mosquito breeding and rodent habitat, I guess, without being too aggressive?
I think keeping it in general, Paul, would be a good idea. That way it would look like a form letter that might be sent out to other addresses too. So
Yeah.
I think it would be less offensive to her,
Yeah, I think that's a good point. So Pam, do you think drafting a simple letter like that, which would kind of have a generic tone, but maybe some specifics that may help? And
You
we
can do that. I'll have John review it.
Okay. So is the board okay with that?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm in agreement on that.
Okay, so the board's in agreement, so we can draft a letter that will basically cite some things that are specific, but in a general format.
Dr. Schubert, what's going to make her do it? Because I've seen her take conservation letters and use them as toilet paper.
Well, then she's in contempt for the board, and I guess we would potentially consider an open hearing, and with an open hearing, then we could decide on a fine or a action.
Okay. Is
I
there
mean, when
a
it-
way for us
When it
to
gets
have
to that point, it's a little bit more legal, and it's a little bit more involved and complicated and confrontational.
Totally, and I would like to avoid that. However, I am putting my family first here. We are Cohasset paying residents. We pay taxes here too, right? Like I can't be forced not to use the land that I pay taxes for. This town isn't cheap. So what would be the next step for as a check-in? Because I don't want this letter, which I appreciate you making as more anonymous as you can. However, I don't want a year to go by and me coming back to you in the same exact problem.
Well, it's not anonymous. It's
Well,
it's a more overseeing letter as opposed to
Sure.
saying you need to remove the stump, you need to remove the septic system, you need to remove the tires, you need to remove. You do that in a letter format with multiple requests, that's going to be a little bit more demanding, and I think you'll be in a worse situation.
Totally.
But if nothing is done in, a reasonable length of time, in a month, without any reasonable good faith effort, then we would probably at that point have a hearing.
Thank you.
And that gets into the legal situation, which I think it'd be better not to, but we can always do that.
Totally understand. I thank you all.
Okay, so Pam, do you think like a simple, straightforward letter with maybe some specifics in there would maybe helpful? I just don't want to stir up more trouble, but try to get a conclusion to, their concerns and their problem.
Mhm.
John, does that sound reasonable?
Yes, I think that would help us as well too, to, again, we're getting to the point where there's gonna be more supervision and inspections on site. So we'll be able to maintain a presence on the property for different reasons, both electrical, plumbing and other inspections that will put us here to at least have some contact with her now at this point to help get a continual plan together to move forward on the different items. Cause I just don't wanna overwhelm the situation, cause I think with that, it just creates a stop and no one wins. So I think if we just kind of keep at it and take a little ground here, a little ground there and move it, and we'll speak with our conservation agent and Pam and myself, we can put together, I think, a letter to kind of help address some of these concerns.
Okay. So can we put this on for next month's agenda then? Just a
I might say,
revision,
do you guys meet twice a month?
No,
once a month?
Alright, I was gonna say we do September, that'll give us some time to get there and get the notices from the different departments, but we'll be out there between now and your next meeting, but maybe it might be an update next meeting and then the following meeting, put it on the agenda, but just a suggestion.
Okay. And is that reasonable? Okay, great. Any other comments from the board?
No, I don't have any.
Okay. All right, well, thank you for bringing this up, because I think this is it's a true nuisance complaint, and it sounds like this has been going on for years.
As I thank you all for your time, I appreciate it.
Sure.
John, thank you very much.
So you're welcome, we'll be in contact.
Thank you.
thanks, John.
Have a good night all, thank you again.
Thank
All right,
you.
thanks. So next up is the meetings minutes from April 22, 2025. Is there any discussion from the board?
No,
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of April 22, 2025, Board of Public Health, Town of Cohasset.
I just have a comment. I haven't seen them. So I don't know if I can't really vote on that,
Nope, you can't.
right?
Marcia?
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes from last month's meeting.
Okay, I'll second those, and for a roll call vote, Marcia?
Marcia Lewis, aye.
Paul Schubert, aye, and the motion passes unanimously with one member not voting. next up is the next meeting date. So bring out the calendar. And I believe the first weekend of, let me see here. August, I am back. Let me see here. Yeah. So we usually, Mary, we usually do Tuesdays. That's just been kind of the historical timeline. Usually the first or second Tuesdays, depending on people's schedules. I'm not sure what people would like to do. If that looks like it works, then we could do probably August 5 or August 12.
Either day works for me.
Marcia?
Either day works for me as well.
Okay. Do you want to do the 12th? Does that give a little more time, so a full month?
Sure.
Yeah.
Pam, is that okay?
That's fine by me.
Okay, good. And also, I just want to bring up, we're still Zoom meetings. Is the Zoom meeting format still okay with everyone?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So we'll continue that as well. So let's set for the next meeting on August 12 at 6 p.m. Zoom meeting. And next up is the Public Health Director report.
So as I sent everybody out today, I just heard Monday from one of the students at Classen High School who is a member of CSCR and had been doing sampling of the foam. And actually, the reason why I even heard of her, it was because Lori Gibbons came in my office one day and was saying like the foam was like the worst she's ever seen it. And she said, "Oh, did you know that the CSCR had tested it and it had some really high chemicals in it?" And she didn't say what they were or anything. I said, "No, I'd be interested." So she sent this girl, Katie, my way. And then I saw the results and I'm like, wow, that is really bad. I always wondered what was in that foam stuff. You guys all are familiar with that, right? Like
Mhm.
they were Lori Gibbons's. So there is no like actual environmental standard for PFAS in surface water, or there definitely isn't anything for foam, but there is a drinking water standard and it's 20 parts per trillion. So these concentrations in this foam are like 563, 3071, 1000, 1300. So it's like up to 150 times like the drinking water limit. So Laurie had showed me photos from this year with the foam covering people's boats and stuff, and you never know if kids are going to jump off the bridge. You just like we can't really have this information and then not say anything to anybody. So that's why I drafted that health advisory, and I just think it'd be a good idea to put it out there just to let people be aware of it.
So what does the board think?
I think it's a great idea.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. We have this information. We need to share that.
Yeah, I agree. And certainly there's precedent out there as well, which Pam had sent out the Huron River avoid swallowing foam for that exact purpose. So this is, it's a river going into the harbor, and it's probably a carbon copy of the Huron River problem that they had. So I think that's reasonable. Everyone has looked at that note and letter that Pam had drafted.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And is that reasonable to post it and send it out?
Yes.
Pam, where would
Okay.
you post that?
Well, I mean, I give it to Kevin Perry, and he'd probably put it out in, the town manager's weekly report, post it to the town website. I can ask him to post it to 143 as well, if you guys think that's worthy of that.
Yep.
I think
Yeah,
so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So I guess then I'd probably ask for a motion to approve the health advisory letter from the Board of Health regarding foam in Cohasset Harbor to be posted.
Yep, I'll make a motion to post the letter from the Board of Health as an advisory to avoid swallowing foam in Cohasset Harbor.
Is there a second?
Second,
Roll call vote. Marcia Lewis,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
Mary Goodwin,
very good one, I.
Paul Schubert, aye. Passes unanimously. And this can get posted in 143 and town website. And I think Mary's right. And we have the information. We might as well distribute it and say, not the best thing to drink.
Mhm.
All right. And anything else?
That's it for me for now.
Okay. And public health nurse report? All yours.
Okay, nothing crazy going on here, keeping busy. This week, just kind of a host of different things. My blood pressure clinics, I don't know if it's the change in hours or the fact that residents are just becoming more comfortable coming to see me. I think at first they really missed Mary and they were a little, not used to seeing me, but they're slowly but surely, the numbers are increasing. I go over to the coffee hour, which I'm sure you did, Mary, and sit at each table. And so really getting to know them, which has been fun. Pam and I have been chipping away the last couple of weeks at some of the rental property inspections. Those are going well, I think. And then as I put in my update, I've kind of been hounding Pam for a little while about finding some way to purchase some CPR equipment to start offering free classes for residents. So we finally purchased some. I got it last week. I just need to find out what a good space to offer those in, probably after hours, I'm thinking. And then I can start offering those. I'm excited to do that. And what else? I don't think there's really anything else other than what I put in my report a couple days ago.
I just thought of one more thing. We did end up finding a new hire. I'm so happy to replace
Yeah.
Stephanie Saunders as a new regional social worker. She lives in the town of Situate and she'd worked as an EMT for a long time and then went back to school, became a social worker, has been working as a social worker at the South Shore Hospital for the last 2 years. And has really wanted to really get in the field as opposed to being in the hospital setting. And she's all excited to start for us. She's going to give 3 weeks notice though. So she's going to start beginning of August, first week in August. So that's good news. It's hard to find somebody that will be willing to work for a grant. And she's all enthusiastic. So we're thrilled.
That's great news. That's
Excellent.
awesome.
Okay. I don't have any topics that are that are reasonably anticipated by the chair 40 hours in advance of the meeting. I think the only other thing out there is I just want to reiterate that the recommendations from the CDC are a little bit convoluted from the point of view of the vaccines as the fall approaches. The American College of Gynecology and Obstetrics recommended COVID vaccination for pregnancy in the 3rd trimester to protect the mother and the newborn. Recommendations for young individuals under the age of 18 are still recommended from the American College of Pediatrics, as well as American College of Internal Medicine. So I think the federal recommendations are going to slip to, I think, to the state level and to the medical groups at this point. That's
good. Let's hope people listen.
so. So I think that's it for me. Anything else from the board?
No,
Okay, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Roll call vote. Mary Goodwin,
Mary Goodwin, I.
Marcia Lewis,
Marcia Lewis, aye.
and Paul Schubert, aye. We'll see you next month.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a
Thank
good
you.
Thanks,
night.
guys.
Take
Good night.
care.